Hello, this is Ron Brown. This weekend, a new version of HGSI Investor is going to be released, and it has several new fields and a couple of indicators, which are variants of indicators that we already had in there before, but they're much more specialized. And the one that I'm working with now is the 10-period volume point of control. Now, the volume point of control is part of the volume at price indicator, which has been in there for a couple of months. As I started experimenting with the volume point of control, I found that the 10-period, 10-bucket indicator, or line, I should say, was a good crossover point for signals both on the upside and the downside. And so I started working with it and worked with Matt and George, and we decided that it would be a good addition to HGSI. Now, if you look over here under the warehouse views, you see that there's a folder just with my name in it, and all of this new material that I'm working with is just going to be under my name. The Woodward and Brown files will all remain in there, but anything new that I'm working on, which and most of it will be VPA related, is going to be under my name. Now, your views may not look like my views. I primarily just work with Woodward and Brown and Morales and Casher and my own material, views, combos, charts, etc. I know a lot of you use material from other people like Jeffrey Scott and so on, but it just goes to show how powerful and how varied HGSI Investor is. My point of emphasis now is volume price analysis, and going forward I think that will be the case, and I will of course integrate this with Woodward and Brown techniques also. Now, for the past week or 10 days since I've had this beta, I've been working on these views, filters, and combos, and I decided to just go ahead and produce these and share them with everybody to begin with, because I know that when you get these indicators, they're confusing enough, or they can be, unless somebody guides you on their use. My goal going forward is to simplify what we have in HGSI. There is a tremendous amount of power in this program, but it can be overwhelming. So like I said, going forward, I plan to try to make these processes as simple as possible to help you find candidates quickly. Now, all of these techniques, none of these techniques, I should say, are black box techniques. Everything is out there, it's exposed, and the best part of it is you don't have to spend $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 for a bunch of indicators that may work or they may not work, but everything is here in front of you. Everything will be explained, and that's the way it is. It's HGSI. You get a tremendous amount of power for not that much money when you start comparing it to all of the other money that is spent on other services and other indicators. Now, I am working on other volume point of control indicators too. They are not ready yet, but I wanted to get something out with this release, so this is what I have. Let me just go through it. You can see that this is the only folder under my name, volume point of control, and then there are subfolders. I've labeled these so hopefully they are pretty self-explanatory, but the first one is HGSI groups, ETFs, and indexes, and days since the VPOC volume point of control crossover. I didn't put crossover in there because I thought it would be kind of lengthy, but you'll see what I mean right here. Now, I am in the industries group right now, and you can see, looking at this column right here, this is the days since the volume point of control 10-10 crossover. You can see on the cruise line index and the PC insurance index that they crossed over today, and they crossed over to the upside because this is the bullish version. Now notice that I have the amount of volume listed in this view. It's 50,000 based upon a 90-day moving average. 50,000 on the indexes because some of the indexes don't have a lot of volume, and anything below that I didn't think was worth looking at. But you can see that based upon the positive crossovers, there are 61 of these, and there are 58 that are negative. Now, I'll just bring up one that crossed over today, and you can see that the 10-period volume point of control line is here, and the cruise line index sold off, but this equal dollar weighted version is now showing that there is some interest in this group because the volume point of control has now gone slightly positive. And you can also see that there was a pocket pivot on Friday, which was a very bad day in the market. The blue line represents where the volume point of control was at any period of time. You can see that it did a pretty good job here of getting this group on the correct side of the market, especially in conjunction with the force indexes. It bounced here, but the force index 13 stayed negative, and then it continued down. Here is where it crossed over. Back at this point, the 2-day force went positive. The 13 didn't go positive until here, but you can see that there's volume coming into this index with the pocket pivots also generating a signal. So as of Friday, we have something similar over here. Now you can go top down from here. The latest VPA signal was 20 days ago on this, and that was a test for supply, so we're not interested in that. We are interested in this 10-10 crossover, and I'm also interested in these trends. The long-term trend is up, the medium is down, but the short-term is turned up. Now let's go into the index group. Now this is only going to show us stocks in this group that have a positive volume point of control based upon the 10-10 crossover. And here's Carnival Corporation. You can see that it is now trying to hold in this area. There is a VPA signal. It is strength seen returning after a downtrend, and the bulls are trying to take control of this stock. Now, does this mean the stock's necessarily going to go right up? No, but you can see that there are several days here, and let me zoom in on this, several days where the, let's put a frame around this, stock has been holding and there has been some accumulation taking place. There is also a pocket pivot on Friday, and I tell you that if this market holds, if this stock and the group does not get totally overwhelmed by the market, this is one stock that I will be watching on Monday. Now I'm going to open this up. You can see that the earnings are not out until 6/28, and that is something you need to know. Now let's go back here, turn this off. There's the index, Royal Caribbean. Looks like this has the same trend structure. Up long term, down medium term, and up short term. And look at this, you're seeing a very similar pattern. This stock looks stronger. Now what do we have here on Friday? We have a transfer of ownership signal. These earnings are not out till July. These stocks reported not that long ago. But look at this. This transfer of ownership means that during the market sell-off Friday, there was profit taking. The bears tried to sell it off, and look what happened. Buyers stepped in on heavy volume. This stock looks even stronger. Now I'm just going to flip through to the ranking module, and I'm going to go to raw relative strength, and I'll do a percent change 1 week, and this tells me what happened with these stocks during the last week. Royal Caribbean was up 4.87.8%. Carnival was only up 1.1%. So this is a stock that looks like it has the short-term leadership going into Monday if the market holds together. Okay, let me get out of here, and let's go back to the warehouse view, and I'll just go back. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. We're going to be talking about all of this stuff at the Insider Club, and a little bit of Tech Talk. We're going to do a Tech Talk next Wednesday, and there are many elements to this, but I just showed you right now what can be accomplished just with a simple look at a group that is showing a positive crossover. Now these are negative. It's just the opposite. This is a days since a VPOC 1010 crossed, and this is the percentage close from the crossover. Here's the actual number, and so on. So let's just look at advertising and marketing, and you can see that it turned negative along with the force indexes, and there was some pretty heavy selling in this on Friday, although it looks like there was some pretty strong buying at the end of the day. And then if I change to the industry group, this is going to show me the stocks that are down. Notice that this up here says days down since the force index. By the way, if you just hold your mouse over these column headers, if they're squeezed together, it tells you what they are. All right, I'm going to move on. I have a lot of ground to cover, and I don't want this video to get too long. Okay, now this can also be used not just for industries, but if you choose a group, and I'm just going to go down to my own group, and it's a Woodward & Brown full. If I go to Major Markets Plus, it only selects the indexes that have volume, and these would be the indexes with a positive volume point of control over 10 periods, and these are negative. Now you can see that the S&P 600 just turned negative slightly on Friday on pretty heavy volume, but it really has not broken down yet. So we'll have to see what's going to happen with this market. Okay, let's just move down to the next view. My major markets ETF. This will give us a better feel for what's up versus what's down based upon the volume point of control. You can see that the spiders, the financial sector spider, I should say, turned positive yesterday during times of market turmoil. The financials a lot of times will tank. They started tanking yesterday, but notice that by the end of the day a doji was formed, and that managed to close above the 10 period volume point of control, even though the force indexes are negative. So this is coinciding with bullishness as far as a potential one-day reversal, I should say. This is really too close to call, but it did show up on the positive side. Now let's go down here, and I'm going to show you what this looks like on the Silver iShares Trust. That crossover actually happened 17 days ago. 0 is always a crossover day, and then you start counting up from there. And here's where that volume point of control came in, and the bulls have been in control ever since. Let's look at commodities. Same thing, long time ago. Okay, I'm going to move on. You get the idea there, I think. And like I said, we're going to be working on this a lot. Okay, now moving down to this one, folder number 2. It's HGSI Stocks, 10 period volume point of control bullish, 250,000 share minimum on the stocks based upon a 90-day length of time. So I'm going to apply the filter, and the combo that I have on here is the percentage price change one day for the industries, and you can see where the strength was yesterday. Precious metal and mining, and all of these are positive, and many of them have been positive for quite some time. Let's go to gold resources, GORO. It's only a $3.29 stock, but it has had a positive volume point of control for 19 days back here at this point, and then the pocket pivots kicked in, and it has remained above the line even with a small pullback. So this is an indicator that can give us early entry into stocks, either long or short, and it can help us stay in those stocks. Now, what other groups were up on Friday? Oil and gas services and so on, integrated utilities. I could bring the spectrum analyzer up, but I'm not going to do that today. And then these are down. Just looking at the numbers, 1137 have a positive volume point of control. That number is always up here. And 1319 had a negative. So by the end of the day, when the market rallied off of its lows, the internals based upon the volume point of control are not all that different. Now, the problem with doing it this way, well, I like to do it this way because I can see what the groups are doing. But if you want the volume point of control on smaller groups, what you should do is you should choose a different group, and let's just go in to Woodward and Brown and go to the stocks and groups moving to the upside on Friday, and these will have a 10 period positive volume point of control, and you can see that the precious metals still dominate, as do these other groups, and I really don't see any crossovers in here as of yesterday, but this is something else you can do. You can have a secondary sort, and I'm going to leave it on raw combo, which is the industry percentage price change one day, and then I'll go into the chart patterns, volume at price, and the days since the volume point of control 1010 crossover. These are all new fields. It's going to resort these according to length. Now, in this instance, I am using descending, which will put the largest number at the top. If you want the smallest number at the top, you do ascending. This shows me the precious metal and mining stocks that have crossed over most recently. None yesterday because there are no zeros here, but there are a couple of ones, and you can see that right here where the volume point of control was crossed and it followed through the next day. Here's another one. So there's a lot of power here. I would suggest, rather than using all securities, after you get a look at the strength of the whole or of all of the groups, up versus down, go into more selective groups. If you have user groups of your own, that's where you should look, or go into the top 50 GIR, Group Inclusion Report. Okay, so that's just up and down in folder number 2. And then the next one, this view and filter requires that there be a VPA signal within the last, or today, I'm sorry, and the days since the volume point of control 1010 has to be a 3-day window. Let's just take a look at this. Make sure my window is correct. Yes, days since All of these are bullish signals. Days since the VPOC 1010 crossover less than or equal to, which gives me a 3-day window. So you can see the days since the VPOC crossover, all of these are under 3. I am letting the indexes come through because I want to see those indexes, especially in the groups, to make sure that they're positive also. So let's just take a look at one of these. These are all effort to rise. Let's take a look at lows, which is strength seen returning after a long downtrend. Now, a long downtrend may not be very long, but it's all relative. So let's just take a look at this. Here is the downtrend. It has been going down for quite some time. And look what we have here on lows. We have a pocket pivot. First of all, though, most important thing, have to come in here and see when the earnings are. 5/18/16. So I'll close that. Take a look at this again. Pocket pivot. There's a couple of signals here, and this is strength seen returning, and you can see that it barely got above the volume point of control. This should also go in a watch list for Monday. In fact, an excellent buy point would be if it takes out the high on this stock here. By the way, I'm working on a system, somewhat of a system, to with the volume point of control, where you don't buy the impulse or the move, but you wait for the next day, and hopefully you get a little pullback, and then you buy or short. But that's to come. That's not included in this. I'm not ready for prime time on that. Anyway, two signals right here. Strength seen returning after a downtrend. High volume up bar closing on the high indicates strength. It's above the 10 period VPOC, and both force indexes turn positive. I'm just going to put that. I forgot to put that other one that I looked at in there, but I'm putting that in my watch list. Let's take a look here at Facebook. After the gap up, a lot of profit taking, but yesterday it tested for supply on lower volume, and really this is a bullish signal. Now, it's kind of tough to go out and buy this stock, but how about a month-long debit spread where you're not risking much money, and if it goes your way, it's you can make 100% on the amount risk. So I'm going to add this one to my group, and I may just do that on Monday. We'll see what the market's doing. Okay, so this is a bullish flag today. I'm in the stocks and groups moving to the upside. If I go to all securities, there's going to be a lot more of them. And you can see that there were none moving down. But if I go to stocks and groups moving down today, there were several. I'm going to move on. And then finally, because I know a lot of you like to look at growth stocks as part of your screening process, especially some of you who are coming over from MarketSmith or thinking about it, I put together some views for you. Now let me go to all securities. I'll hold my alternate key and hit the space bar. I'll reapply the filter, and let me explain these very quickly. Now, these are growth stocks, and growth stocks, I am not extremely stringent on the numbers, but what I did on all these is I'm requiring that the current quarter and the previous quarter have at least 20% EPS gains compared to the same quarters 1 year ago. And that's it. I didn't put a lot of other fields in there because I'd rather take a look at the charts, know that I have some minimum numbers, and then I can feel good about that and move on from there. For these screens, with earnings growth, I did put a couple of columns in here. If you move over to the right a little bit, you'll see the earnings due date, the EPS change, and the EPS previous. You can see that they're all over 20%. There are several other fields in here. I just didn't have room to put everything in, so I put what I thought was important in here, and there are also some other fields that I may use for scans down the road. So let's move on here. These are the 1010 and Force 2 positive. These are just growth stocks that are positive. This is all of them, and you can see there are 114 today. This is sorted by industry group also. These are growth stocks that moved up today. In other words, they have 2020 as far as the two most recent quarters, plus they moved up today, so this will help you find growth stocks on the move. You can see that all of these qualify. Now, some of these stocks may have negative growth numbers, but they're improving. That's just the way we do it in HGSI. Because a lot of these stocks that have not actually made money yet, but they're getting closer to making money, some of those stocks really move a long way before they ever start showing a profit, because stocks are about anticipated earnings, not earnings necessarily in the past. Now, this is a little bit unique. What I decided to do are use the smart group, the smart groups, both the stocks and groups moving up, and the 1 to 15 smart group moving up, and then I put all the growth requirements in here. And the way this works, and this is new to HGSI a few months ago, very unique and very powerful. Okay, this should be, these are stocks greater than 15. The next one is 1 to 15. 250,000 shares, but here is the key to it. You can put this field in group member, and then you can select any group, and every day when these smart groups are updated, it goes down and pulls out the growth stocks from these stocks and groups moving up, both the full group, and there were a few yesterday. There's Lowe's Company, by the way, again, and then the 1 to 15. So very unique and very powerful. Anyway, that's what I have for you now, but I do have to show you some of the charts that I am putting out here for you. Okay, these are trend channel colors on the candles. Here's the weekly version, daily version. This is from the volume price analysis. It was in there before under the volume point of control. It's the number 7 view. I just pulled it down and I renumbered it to number 3. If that's confusing for you, you can rename it number 7, but I'll be using this one a lot more than going up there and looking through all of those other charts. Now, what's unique about this, the first two just have the 10 period volume point of control, and on the weekly also, but this has the 10 period volume point of control plus the 250, the 90, the 30, and here is the 10. We have the line, we have the horizontal line, and also where the 10 period volume point of control was in the past, and notice they merge up here at this point. So that should be plenty of charts, but I am working on, like I said, an impulse reaction system, and these are some of the views that I'm going to go ahead and put in here. They won't do you much good now, but you may want to use them. This is a visual filter back test. You can see when it goes from a negative volume point of control to a positive volume point of control, and just a very clean chart with the VPA signals right here. This information over here in the warehouse view, that will come into play later. That's going to be for risk control and position sizing. And that'll be part of a spreadsheet that I'm putting together. This is essentially the same thing, but I decided that I'm going to use some moving averages and moving average crossovers to get a sense for short and intermediate term trends, and then longer term trends also. This is 3, 6, and 18 EMA. This is 1850, 100, and 200. I use DEMA here. Let me change that so it's consistent. The next one is a 419, 17 DMA. I'm going to change that too while I'm at it. Okay, that because it became an SMA, simple moving average. And then here's just a weekly chart with no moving averages. And then here is a chart with the volume point of control with the crossovers, the VPA signals, and you can see where it goes positive and negative. Now these VPA, volume point of control bars up here are not going to mean anything right now. That's something that I'm working on, but I thought I'd go ahead and include the chart right now. It just shows when stocks have moved up and they're pulling back, even though the volume point of control is still positive. And I'm still working on this, but I think it has a lot of potential. So that's it. I hope you enjoy these views. I wanted to get you started. Like I said, I know that it's really hard for people to come up with all their own views, filters, and combos. So this is a start, and this is just the beginning. Thank you for listening.